Hello everyone, today I'll be drawing the Whinfell from Star Stable Online, and since this is my first voiceover video, I decided to explain my process. I decided to draw the Whinfell because I think they will probably remove them soon and I want to keep them remembered. I didn't even think they would add them back to the game, because it's a really old breed and I think the Shire horses will be gone soon as the Gen 1 and Gen 1.5 horses will be gone. But I was really glad to see them because I never got the chance to buy them, so I had to get all of them. I even made a small sketch of the pink one, and if they release the other colors I will maybe get some of them too. But enough talking now, let's get to the video. So I usually start with a really blurry and rough sketch, just so I know where the things should go, what the pose is supposed to be, and I sometimes add the little details like the beard here, just because I don't want to forget them. But for example, because I needed to know if my anatomy was right, I didn't add the feathers on the hoofs right away, because I knew I was gonna add them, but I just had to check that the anatomy and the size of the hooves are right. I wanted it to be a little bit more comic-ish, if that's how you say it. I just really wanted it to look not too realistic. For the girl, I decided to go off my reference. I just freestyled the outfit. You can see later on that I didn't make it color matching, because I just don't want it to look too boring if I just use the same colors over and over again. Here you can see me adding the not the lightest and also not the darkest colors. I color fill under the sketch. I like to add the highlights and shadows later on. I don't like to start with like the darkest color or the lightest color. Usually I go rather light so I can see it better with the color filling under the sketch, because otherwise sometimes you draw like over the lines and it's just annoying. You have to clean up a lot more, and with the style I am painting I already have to clean up a lot, so I don't have to make it even harder for myself. Here you can see me starting to add like the muscles and kind of like rough where what color has to go. I'll be rendering that later on. I started with the character because that was like the hardest thing to do, and I wanted to start with the hair because I've never done hair like that. I had to change it up a lot because I didn't quite know how to do the hairstyle. Here you can see me checking the anatomy again, which I had to change later on because I made it way too far on the side. I'm not good at sticking with my guidelines. Then I already started kind of rendering on the character, because that was the biggest challenge for me. I draw horses a lot, I don't draw humans a lot, so it was a big challenge. So I wanted to do it first because I knew with a horse it wasn't gonna be a big problem. I could do that in my sleep, but with the character I was struggling a lot. You can see me drawing the face and it was far too much on the side, so I had to change that later on. But sometimes you don't see it till you like flip the cameras or something, so I didn't notice it. But I noticed it eventually and I changed it up, but it took some time. I'm adding highlights on the pants because I want them to look a little bit more like leather, not like jeans, just because I thought it looked a little bit cooler. I wanted it to look a little bit emo, if that's how you say it. Usually my rendering style is really rough and textured, but with the legs it's like, or with skin in general, it's very smooth, because I usually draw animals, so you can be textured with the fur, but since our skin is not really fur, I have to smooth that out a lot, so it does look weird. And then I went to rendering the shoes, which is always a challenge. Most artists know that shoes are just not easy, but I think I managed to do it. So then I went on to draw the eyes, which was really easy because they're not realistic on the model itself. So I could just go in with a really intense blue. And then I went back to the character, added more depth, more shadows. And then I started rendering the horse, which is like really easy with the brushes I use because they smear a lot. So I just kind of mush it all together and it works. It works out fine. It's really nice, so you can keep the flow and you can always fix up things later. Also, because I want to keep the flow, I only draw on like one layer. I draw the eyes on a different layer, but as soon as I'm done with the eyes, I merge it all together. I added a lot of highlight to the hair because I think in the game it also looks rather shiny and a little bit plastic-ish. It might just be because the old models just were made like that, but I kind of like the thought of the mane not being like fluffy, so I added that shine too. And then I went on to the beard, which was a little bit of a struggle, but I managed it. And the legs, which was hard because making a transition between the colors sometimes is a little bit complicated, especially if there are colors in between, like the gray bluish part and then the black part and then the blue part. It's a little bit of a struggle. Also the feathers weren't super easy, but I just started with the darkest color and then went on with that. Here I'm adding the lighting. I made it blue because I wanted the background to be blue. And then I started with the background. I had a reference for that, but it was still a big struggle. Not gonna lie, because I don't usually do backgrounds. But if I do backgrounds, I like doing darker backgrounds just because it's fun playing with the lighting in like these dark scenarios. I added a little bit of a mist because I wanted it to look a little bit scary, mystical. Then I used a lot of brushes for the grass so I didn't have to paint every single stroke. And here I'm adding the colors, like that everything is more bluish, and the light that comes from the background. And that's it, now we're done. I decided to make different versions of the painting, one where it looks like a ghost and one where the background is desaturated, just because I thought it was gonna make the characters be the foreground of the picture. And I also made it the background, and I animated it with a wallpaper engine. So here's that. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.